What's good, family? It's your boy Sykes, and you are looking live at another episode of Special Delivery. Thank you so much for rocking with us today, man. We really appreciate you. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can know whenever the fire content is coming on this channel. And we got a lot of that. Clearly, that's why you're here today. But today, we got some joints that are all from the 90s. And it's kind of a weird vibe, right? Because remember a few episodes ago, well, it's more than a few episodes ago at this point, but we've been talking a lot about how vintage basketball has been coming back through like the Jordan 1s, obviously, and the New Balance 550s and different models that look like that are from that era. But now we're starting to move into a time where it feels like 90s basketball is making a comeback. Like, it's kind of weird, right? It's kind of weird, but it's also kind of cool. And up here we have three models that are all prominently from the 90s. Like, these joints were featured heavily by basketball teams, by athletes back in that day. So we're gonna dive into them and talk about how these shoes now have a little bit of a new life thanks to this new vibe that sneaker culture is embracing. So without further ado, let's dive into these. So starting right here, we got the Zoom Flight 95s, man. And this joint is, y'all know what this shoe is, man. Like, you can't help but know what this shoe is because of the big bug eyes that it comes with, man. And that is honestly one of my favorite parts about this sneaker is that big bug eye. The design choice by Eric Avar on these joints is just chef's kiss, man, chef's kiss. And the thing about these joints is this was the Jason Kidd shoe, right? Like, this isn't technically Jason Kidd's signature shoe, but by all intents and purposes, that's really what it was. And it was a shoe that he was wearing with the Mavericks, which is why you have that Mavericks colorway that came out from Nike recently. And it is a shoe that uses carbon fiber heavily, as you can see, featured in not only the midsole, but even going into the upper. And that's made so that you have a little bit more protection and the shoe is still a little bit lighter, which I think is really cool, but it's also kind of stiff to me. Like, I don't know, it's always been a bit of a stiff shoe. But as far as like the aesthetic of it, this is one of the most unique shoes I think that Nike has put out. And that's kind of what 90s basketball was, right? It was just all these unique looks at these different sneakers, which, moving on, you definitely get that vibe from the Air More Uptempo right here. Now, this right here, this is a Scottie Pippin joint. It's a joint that he wore during that 72-10 season with the Chicago Bulls, and it is still one of the most, I don't know, identifiable, I guess would be the word, sneakers for Nike because of this big Air logo that you have on the joints. And obviously, like, you got the swoosh going through on these joints right here, but the OG Pippin joints, man, like, you just see that big Air and it's just like, yo, like, this is just such a cool sneaker. And that was inspired actually by like pop art and graffiti that were so big back in the 90s. And the thing about these is that they're big, bulky, provide you with a lot of cushioning. You got that full length Air Max cushioning right here in the outsole right here. And I just think that back then, this shoe right here, it was pretty revolutionary for what it was. And I think, honestly, you could still get a pretty good run in these joints today. Like, I wouldn't necessarily go to it because technology has advanced so much to where, like, you could wear a shoe from like 2010 and, you know, it'd be completely fine. But this joint right here, if you wanted to give them an OG flavor on the court, like, I think you could probably get that off. But moving on, man, we got these ambush joints, man, the Ambush Air Adjust Force. And this is a shoe that honestly kind of flies under the radar with a lot of people. It's not one that was like prominently featured on the basketball court heading into the early 2000s, right? But this is one that I think is one of the more unique sneakers that we had from Nike basketball back in the 90s. And the thing about this joint right here is that you can actually pull this strap off, right? And you take it off, you put on another one from another shoe, and it's a completely different colorway, right? Like, you see, I snatched this whole thing off right here, which is like, this is really cool. Like, that's a really cool touch to it. And then when you look at it like this, it looks a little bit like the Air Bacon, which was another 90s basketball shoe. That joint was big up here in the DMV actually back in like the late 2000s, not late 2010s, but early 2010s and in the late early 2000s. So like from 2008 to 2012, I would say like the Bacon was a big shoe, and this joint looks a lot like that, which I think is really cool. So I was really happy to get these joints from Nike. This is actually a ambush collab, so y'all know what Yoon and she does. Like this is a really cool sneaker, man, and a really unique look at a 90s basketball model that I think, like I said, flies under the radar a little bit. And this has just been the vibe for Nike in 2022, I guess I should say. It's been 90s basketball, a lot of 90s basketball. And we had the penny ones up here for the cold open. That's another 90s basketball joint. The penny twos are coming out soon from Social Status. It's just been a lot of 90s basketball. And honestly, to be completely honest with y'all, I'm kind of here for it. This is a good vibe. It makes me feel a little bit older, but it also makes me feel a little bit more distinguished. So I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. But anyway, fam, that's a wrap for Special Delivery. I'm your boy Sykes, and this is the 90s basketball collection for Special Delivery. We'll catch y'all on this flip side. Peace.